Welcome everyone to this lecture on social psychology. I am Lynette Da Silva Fortis, Assistant Professor, Kamal College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Today, I will be covering your second year module of social psychology, a part of your third semester. The course code of this is PSC 103 and the course title is Social Psychology 1. Today, I'm also going to speak about nonverbal communication, which is a part of your Unit 2, Understanding the Social World. The module number is 9. The session outline for today's lecture: definition of nonverbal communication, means through which nonverbal communication takes place, how we use nonverbal cues to interpret other people's behavior. After this lecture, you will be able to define nonverbal communication, describe the process of nonverbal communication, use nonverbal cues to interpret other people's behavior. Nonverbal communication. And the meaning of nonverbal communication is basically communication between individuals that does not involve the content of spoken language. It relies on an unspoken language of facial expressions, eye contact, and body language. Now, the next thing what we are going to do is the channels of nonverbal communication. Now, nonverbal communication takes place in different ways. Now, we are going to see some of the basic channels of nonverbal communication. The first one is facial expressions. Now, when we say facial expression, we have Roman orator Cicero, who said the face is the image of the soul. According to him, human feelings and emotions are reflected in the face and can be read there in specific expressions. Now, there are 5 basic emotions which are represented on the human face right from an early age. That is, from the time we are born, these are the emotions which are or which we can show, which we can depict. Okay, they are anger, fear, happiness, sadness, and disgust. Now, even though we have 5 different emotions which are represented on our faces, it does not imply that human beings show only a small number of facial expressions. Emotions, they occur in many different combinations. Like you can show joy and sorrow, you can show fear and anger. Okay, we are not only going to show 5 different emotions. Now, the reactions of these emotions that you show, either single or in combinations, they are going to vary in strength. They are not going to be of the same strength. Some are going to be stronger, some are going to be a little lesser intense. Now, facial expressions are also considered to be universal. That is, if you go to any part of the world, the 5 facial expressions are going to be recognized by anyone in the world, even though you do not know their language or you do not speak their language. Now, even though you have cultural differences which exist with respect to the precise meaning of facial expression, because we have different cultures that assign different meanings to different expressions, but still we are going to understand the 5 basic expressions. Now, expressions of emotions, take for example the word lajja. Now, this is in terms of the Indian context. Now, when we talk about lajja, now when you can express this particular emotion in different ways in different situation. Now, when you say lajja can be used, okay, when you are shy, it can be, this particular emotion can be used to express this emotion of shyness. Then sometimes it is used to depict shame, sometimes guilt, sometimes happiness, sometimes bliss, etc. Now, we are going to see some research which is conducted by Matsumoto and Willingham regarding the facial expressions of different sports personnel, like your athletes and all. Now, they did a very interesting research regarding athletes who compete for the Olympics. Now, what they found in their study, or before they conducted the study, what they did was they took photographs of faces of different athletes who were, these photographs were taken at various times. Okay, now some were taken when they were winning, some were taken when they were losing a particular match, some were taken when they were receiving medals, some were taken when they were posing for photographers. Okay, now what they found was that there are differences in the expressions which are shown between the gold, silver, and the bronze medalist. And when you compare these expressions, okay, the gold and the bronze medalists, they had the widest of the smiles. They were smiling widely for the camera. Then, when you compare these people's expression to the silver medalist, now the silver medalist must be thinking in his head, if or he or she, okay, if I had to only work a little harder, I would have got the gold medal. Okay, so that is what was found in the study, which was conducted by Matsumoto and his colleagues. Now we'll go to the second channel of nonverbal communication, that is gazes and stares. Now, others' feelings can be learned from their eyes. You just look at the person's eyes or the expression, and you can come to learn a lot of other people's feelings at that particular time. Now, when you have high level of gazing, now what does it mean? It means the person likes you, or it shows a high level of friendliness. Then, if a person is avoiding eye contact when you look at this particular person, that means the person is unfriendly, the person doesn't like us, or maybe it is the person is very, very shy and does not want to maintain eye contact. Then you have high level of eye contact. Now, when another person looks at you continuously, that means the person likes you, or the person has positive feelings towards you. Now, in eye contact, you also have another behavior, that is staring. Okay, all of us have gone through this, or all of us have been stared at some time of or the other. Now, when another person uh, gazes at us continuously, maintaining eye contact, regardless of what we do, regardless of like till we are out of sight, that is called staring. Okay, now staring can be sometimes interpreted as a sign of hostility, that is a cold stare, and it is very, very disturbing for some people. Now, sometimes we terminate social interaction with someone who is staring at us constantly, and we are going to leave the scene. Okay, suppose you are at the bus stop and a stranger is continuously staring at you. You are going to feel very uncomfortable. You are going to try to avoid this person's like, you don't want to look in the direction of the person, and sometimes you might want to leave because it is making you very, very uncomfortable. Now we'll see something about the Indian context. Now, Indian child is socialized to avoid direct eye contact with elders when they are communicating. So, if a young child looks into the eyes of his parents or adults directly, it is considered to be a sign of disrespect. Now, in adult to adult conversation, if one avoids looking at each other's eyes, that means you are lying or you are evading the truth. Now we'll go to the next channel of nonverbal communication, that is body language. Imagine a situation wherein you were happy. Now imagine another situation wherein you were very sad, very upset. Now, if you think about what were your reactions, what was the movement of your body parts, like your hands, your facial expressions, your smile, how were they in different in both the situation? Okay, they were totally different. When you're happy, it is different. When you're sad, it is different. Now, body language is basically the cues which are provided by the position, posture, and movements of other people's bodies or body parts. Now, body language reveals a lot of other people's emotional state. Now, we have phrases like she adopted a very threatening posture. He greeted her with open arms. This suggests different body orientations or postures, indicating very contrasting emotional state. Now, we also have studies or a study which was conducted by Aronoff and his colleagues. Now, they found that actors, when they are depicting very threatening or dangerous characters, they show very diagonal or very angular postures. Okay, so like angles, you can say, like this and like this. So they show very angular postures when they are depicting very threatening or dangerous characters. Now, when actors are depicting warm, sympathetic characters, they are going to use more of rounded postures. They are going to talk like this. Okay, so you also can imagine how you talk when you're happy and how you talk when you're upset. Now, more specific information about others' feelings is provided by gestures, which are called emblems. Now, emblems are body movements which carry specific meanings in a given culture. Okay, we have one very famous emblem in our culture in Indian context, that is the Namaste sign that we use to greet each other. So much so because of COVID 19, now people all over the world, instead of handshake, they are using this Namaste sign to greet each other. We have presidents of different countries also who are using this particular emblem in order to greet each other. Now, in India, we have gestures and movements which provide different information depending which part of the country one is in. Now, in North India, we have hands which are used as non-verbal gestures. In South India, we have neck movements which are used for many gestures. Then you have different gestures which have different meanings, like a clenched fist. Now, that is for men, it symbolizes power, and for women, it symbolizes loss of power, or there is no hope of gaining this power again. And the next one is touching. Now, touching, so imagine a situation wherein you're having a conversation with another individual, and this person touches you suddenly. How are you going to react? Now, your reaction is going to depend on several factors, like who is doing the touching, friend, stranger, member of your own group, or gender. Then you have nature of physical contact, like brief, prolonged, gentle, rough, what part of the body is touched. And lastly, the context, like business, social, doctor's office. Now, there is a lot of evidence that touching is considered to be appropriate. It brings about positive reactions in the person being touched. And in the Indian context, touching feet of the elders, touching or massaging feet by younger women is considered to be the notion of seva. Handshakes are also considered to be an appropriate way of different cultures, of people belonging to different cultures to touch strangers. And they reveal a lot of information about people. If you have a very firm, longer, and vigorous handshake, it creates a very favorable impression. And they are more customary for men than women in India. With that, we come to the end of the lecture. These are some of the references and the books to be followed. Thank you very much.